I'm at a crossroads right now. I've been here before, but in different circumstances. And I know that in the uncertainty, in the uncertain phase of your life, sometimes you just have to continue to do what you're doing and just let the path unfold for you and just really listen to your inner self.
Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB Bikini Pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast.
Today's guest is a registered dental hygienist, and she began training in the gym over a decade ago, officially starting bodybuilding with a coach in 2021. And at her third show ever, she won her pro card, which was in 2023, and then made a strong pro debut in 2025, placing third at the Tahoe Pro. We all know how competitive that show is, and sixth at the Linda Murray Atlanta Pro, also extremely competitive. And beyond the stage, this competitor is currently in a season of listening rather than forcing and discerning what's next, holding space for uncertainty, and really leaning into her faith as she navigates identity, purpose, and calling beyond bodybuilding, which is something I'm really looking forward to talking about with this athlete. So welcome to the show, Naomi Jordan. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am doing excellent on this Saturday morning.
Oh, good. I'm so happy to have you on, and I love that we're doing this too. I'm glad that we were able to. It's been a long time coming. Like I've been really looking forward to talking with you. So thanks for being here.
Yay, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So before we get into everything, I'd love to know if there's anything you do or think about, maybe even a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage.
I I actually don't have a ritual right before I get on stage. Um, I'm trying to put myself in that headspace. I was trying to put myself in that headspace last
Yeah.
night for this, and I actually just think to myself, I think a lot of ladies competing get caught up in competing against other women. And for me personally, I feel like if you change the perspective on we all worked very hard to get here and we all deserve to be here. So let's just have the best time and cheer each other on. And so I just tell myself that and I say I worked really hard to be here and so has everyone else and let's just have some fun.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's so important to separate from like I'm competing against others to really I've already done all the work. Everyone's done the work. We're all here. And, like newbie mentality, I think is generally more centered in like I need to outperform. Whereas I think once you've been in it, you're kind of like, wait, all of this is left in the judge's hands. I've done everything I can.
Totally. That's where I was at with one of my first competitions is I was very nervous and I felt like I just want to beat everyone. I just want to beat everyone. And, going into my pro debut and back in August, I just wanted to have fun. And I just felt like we all worked so hard to be there.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
Well, especially with your background in soccer, like I know coming from a athletic background where really your performance does influence the score. Obviously, in bodybuilding, yes, your performance, as in how you step on stage, your presence, that has an influence, but it's not the same as like literally scoring a goal. Like, it's just not. So, I think that mentality it can be attractive to get into competing because you're still like focused on pushing yourself and performing at a high level for yourself, but it's different because the outcome is a lot less in your control.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally. You can show up, everyone knows, like you can show up one day, one weekend at a competition looking a certain way and then the next weekend you can completely sweep the show, you know, but in soccer, like, yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been in the gym for a long time now, so since 2013, 14. What initially drew you to fitness and then eventually made you go, yeah, I'm going to start a prep and get on stage?
I love this question because it is about soccer. I mean, I grew up playing
Really?
soccer my whole life, yeah. And I actually wanted to play competitive soccer. I had no idea what I wanted to do as a profession. I never thought I would be competing in a bodybuilding show. I mean, yes, from a young age, my uncle was always into bodybuilding. Like every time I go,
Really?
we'd watch Pumping Iron. Like I was a little kid.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. So you were exposed early on.
Yes, but
Oh,
yes, I love the aesthetic part of it, you know, but I
yeah.
never thought like I would be on stage oiled up.
Uh-huh.
So, so yes, playing soccer, I wanted to do that. And then I just kept tearing my ACLs at one point. I think I had 4 knee surgeries within 5 years. Yeah,
Holy
it was
moly.
brutal.
The
Uh,
same thing?
3 on the left and 1 on the right.
Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
I was 16 or 17 too, and it just kept happening. So my physical therapist being around them a lot, they were like, you need to strengthen the muscles around in order to support your ACL. So I started going to the gym, and then I actually really liked the gym. I liked the structure of it and and the aesthetic of it. And finally, I think after my last tear, my surgeon had talked to me and told me that I should give up soccer.
Hmm.
And so I had to give it up, figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And but the gym was always there, you know, I always stuck with the gym. And that was probably 2013, 2014. I was getting in there. And then maybe about like 2017, I started to really think about competing. Like I always had it in the back of my head just because of watching Pumping Iron and my uncle and things like that. Um, but I heard kind of the negative sides of it and some of the influencers that I liked online, not necessarily bodybuilders, but they tried bodybuilding. They would speak about it and it kind of scared me a little bit. So I always kept that in the back of my mind.
Mhm.
But I think around 2020 when COVID hit, I was like, you know, it's now or never. Like there's nothing really going on. I'm working. I need a hobby. Let's try bodybuilding. And I
Right.
actually, yes, I was actually going to, sorry about that. I was actually going to a bodybuilding gym at the time, a private gym, and there were quite a few bodybuilders there. And one of them
Really?
had,
2020?
yes, one of them had come up to me and they were like, you have really good shape. Have you ever thought about competing? And then that's when I was like, okay, a spark in me, you know, I took off with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was it Coliseum by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Have you gone there?
Oh yeah, my friend Alicia, she was my yes. So she oh, yes. Wait, was she the one who came up to you?
No, it was a different person. But
Yeah,
yeah, she's a
like
sweetheart.
oh, so sweet. And we worked together at Anytime Fitness and then stayed friends. And yeah, so when you said that, I was like, that is one of the few gyms I was able to work out at in 2020. And it was like, I think I went there like once or twice, but yeah, that's awesome. I was like, I feel like that's the only bodybuilding gym I can think of that like really went through hell to stay open.
Oh yeah. I'm so thankful and so grateful for that period in my life too. And them just fighting to stay open because we all know how important our physical fitness is, especially for our mental health. So, yeah, I'm very grateful that they pushed to keep their gym open.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love it. So you got encouraged from hearing that. You're like, all right, well, I'm not the only one now who's thinking it could be a good fit for me. I'm really interested though in what you had said, some of the influencers who you followed, like maybe made you shy away from it for a little. Now that you've been in it, is there anything you can, maybe some of their warnings that you're like, they were right?
I think the main thing I was afraid of was the eating disorders. I know
Hmm.
many competitors, especially early ones, they do struggle with eating disorders, and you can go down a slippery slope with that. But the way I'm going to tell you, I've been having a lot of full circle moments in my life, and the way everything has been lining up in my life, I just look back and I'm like, everything had to happen for a reason. And the way I went into bodybuilding was I didn't want to just sign up with just any coach. Like, I wanted a coach that was knowledgeable because of all of the things that I have heard in the past. Like, I just don't want to, go with anyone.
Yeah.
And so the eating was very scary to me. I thought that I would be on a cookie cutter chicken and rice for 18 weeks, straight. And that scared me because I didn't want to
Right.
experience what those influencers shared. But looking back and now, no, I'm glad that I did. I chose the decisions that I did. And yeah, everyone has their own experience. So what I was very concerned and worried about, yeah, I didn't have to struggle with that.
Good.
Thank
So
goodness. Thank goodness.
seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that could have set, I mean, I struggled with that early on, and I think that set me back quite a bit.
Mhm.
And I'm curious how you found a coach to really meet how you wanted bodybuilding to be.
So yeah, I remember sitting on my bed and I was chatting with a few of my girlfriends, texting them, and they had already done a few shows, and one of my girlfriends was part of the team that I am part of with now. And she just had nothing but great things to say about the team that I'm on. And I just stuck with it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. It's nice when you have a positive start too, especially if you had some of those fears going into it. I want to go back to the ACL injuries because I'm interested in how it affected your training, if at all. Because, bodybuilding is pretty safe, really. It's a lot of, we're not really moving, unfortunately, we're not really moving side to side, which isn't great. Um, but it's stable. I'm wondering how it affected your training. Like, did you have any insecurities about your body, like how it would function and perform doing certain movements or in the gym? Like, how did that influence your outlook?
That's a great question. I've never actually thought about that. Actually, looking back now, one of my main concerns since my last ACL tear happened just by backpedaling, like running backwards. Yeah, I was very nervous about getting into the gym and lifting weights. So I always wanted to have proper form or work on my form. I never wanted to get in there and lift super heavy. Yes, there are times when yeah, we're
Right.
ego lifting over here, just to test myself, But I, yeah, I always focused on technique, and I was scared, but my main goal back then was to just build as much muscle around my ACL so I could support my ACLs and not have to go through that ever again. Because that's one of the worst injuries that I've ever had.
Uh, well, I know that the recovery process of that with PT is like the most brutal part.
Oh my
You're
God.
like, you're having like a PTSD flashback. I can see it right now.
Yes.
I'm like, shouldn't have said anything because I can see you're like feeling it. And
Yes. Yeah.
oh,
You're unlocking memories I forgot I had. I love this. Also, I
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, man, I've heard that it's rough. Like that actually is what makes my stomach flip when I think about injuries. Is like the recovery, the movement. So it's really amazing, Mo, that you have that resilience and um walking away from a sport that you really felt maybe embodied a lot of your identity, and you thought, oh, I'm just going to play soccer forever, and then you're faced with this decision of like, I may not actually, I am not. How did that affect your overall outlook on life? Like, how did you make that transition to, okay, I'm just going to focus on fitness now?
You have such great questions, first of all.
Yeah.
I have the goosebumps because I think about
Oh,
this question often. Um, Me being 30 and going through life, I think about my past
mhm.
quite often and leading up to this. And sometimes staying in certain situations for too long is not the best. And going back to that question, soccer was my life. It was my creative outlet. It was my way of getting all of my emotions out on the field. And yeah, it was very hard for me to just give that up. I wanted to continue to play. I was like, no, I'm going to get better. Like, I'm going to get back on the field. I'm going to go play in college, like my dream. And
Yeah.
that that being worse than a heartbreak. It's hard to give something up that is your outlet. And you have a bad day, oh, you could go play soccer. Or yeah, and for me now it's bodybuilding, and that's when it's like, where am I going to go with this now? How long do I want to do this? Am I going to stay in this or not?
Right. So yeah, that's yeah. I can relate to that so much. Like leaving volleyball to then commit to bodybuilding and fitness, and then actually recently making that decision to step away from competing. Um, it brought up some of those old feelings that came with it. And what I found was when I was ready, though I knew I was ready, and that was true both times. And I think in your case, it's a little different when you get forced out of a sport due to injury and you don't get to choose retirement. It actually does affect our mental health differently. Like the psychological impact is different than someone who chooses to retire. So now you're in a position where if you wanted to choose to retire or step away, it would feel a lot better than what soccer felt like, So, not to, I guess, no, you know what? I'm just going to jump right into it and ask you, like, where is your head at with competing? How has it evolved in the years, especially as of late? What's been kind of going through your head with it?
Yeah, I am at a place right now where I'm uncertain. I'm not quite sure which way I'm going to go. I love I love bodybuilding. I love competing, but I also have to be real with myself and ask myself, what do I want out of life? And I'm at a crossroads right now. I'm not quite sure, and I've been here before, but in different circumstances. And I know that in the uncertainty, in the uncertain phase of your life, sometimes you just have to continue to do what you're doing and just let the path unfold for you, you know, and just really listen to your inner self.
That's well said. Yeah, it's a lot better than trying to force a decision. Like there's no need or reason to know right now, but I feel like a lot of times athletes feel like they always have to know what's next, especially considering like we're always being asked like, so now what? Now what's next? What's next for you? And it's like, dude, I'm just trying to enjoy what I just did, or be where I'm at. So, you know, given that, how does it feel to actually give yourself permission to not know what that next chapter looks like?
Scary.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly though.
Scary. Scary, but also empowering. I love bodybuilding, and I love the ladies and the men that that dedicate their whole life to it. Like I'm in awe of that. I absolutely love that they know that this is what they want to do and they just go full force, and props to them. But there's also a group of us that we don't know. We live in that uncertainty. And I feel like that's kind of fun. That's kind of
Mhm.
fun too. It can be
Yeah.
scary, but I think everything happens for a reason and my life will unfold exactly how it's supposed to unfold.
If you're looking for competition heels, jewelry, and fun competitor extras, then visit shoefairyofficial.com and use code CELESTE for a discount at checkout.
Oh, it absolutely will, especially as you continue to like lean, I believe, as you lean on faith too, because you are a woman of faith as far as what I've seen and what you've shared. And I'd love to hear how that's actually been influencing some of this season as well as maybe past ones too.
Yeah, that's how much time do we have?
It's time, girl. I'm all ears.
Yeah, I've always been a believer, and but the last few years having I've really learned how to have faith. I've always been the type of person that
Mm.
needs to know. I want to know. I want to know. And having faith is something that I had to learn this last season. And bodybuilding, wow, having faith in bodybuilding and leaning on God makes the process so much more enjoyable and it takes so much pressure off, like if you just leave it to him and if this is what you want me to have, like show me the way. If it's not, replace it with something better. And my life has just like skyrocketed. Yeah, I
That's amazing. That's so amazing. So give us an example of like what's maybe come that you didn't expect.
the Tahoe Pro, the Tahoe Pro,
Seriously, that like
yeah.
talk about it. That is so amazing because third place at your pro debut at the Tahoe Pro, like, and then of course all the amazing fun things they do for the athletes following that.
Oh my goodness. If you knew my story and like leading up to that, I was going through a hard place after earning my pro card.
Mhm.
I didn't compete for 2 years after that. I went through some major life changes. I didn't know exactly. I was in a place where I didn't know what I wanted to do again, but I always had that goal in the back of my head. I want to get on a pro stage, just to say I competed with the pros and then I can give it up, like that was my thing. But at one
Yeah.
point I didn't even know if I wanted to continue. I didn't even know if I wanted to do my pro debut. And I was talking with my family and talking with God and my therapist, and they all just said just pray and talk to God and see what he has to do. And how everything lined up, how my prep went, my mindset was different. Everything was just so different. My environment was different. The way I perceived things was different. And I think it made that prep so much more enjoyable because I leaned on my faith. I worked on myself. It just, yeah, the way everything just panned out. I can't believe I got third as well. I was shocked, because everyone worked so hard and everyone looked so great. And I do my prayers and I told myself right before I got on stage, all of us worked so hard and I can't believe I'm here doing my pro debut, something that I debated not even doing. Let's just have fun. And once I was done praying and saying that to myself and how things panned out, yeah, I think God definitely has been very good to me. When you lean on him and you actually have faith.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and you had just mentioned you had some doubts maybe leading into making a pro debut, whether you were even going to do one at all. So, what were some of the thoughts that might have been, or fears, or other things holding you back and thinking, should I even make a pro debut?
Yeah. I back when I first got into bodybuilding and my first few competitions, I think I did 3 before, or my 3rd when I earned my
Mhm.
pro card. I actually I didn't have the best experience. I wasn't aware of what I would face, especially I think a lot of the new competitors don't know exactly what you can face mentally, especially if you're not in the best environments, the best supportive environments for that. It can get scary and it can get dark. So I was afraid that if I went through a prep again, especially for a pro debut, you have to be on it. Um, I was afraid I would meet that same version of myself again. And that's why I took so long to come back. But like I said, working on myself, having a relationship with God made it a lot easier and more enjoyable. And it shocked myself. I'm like, maybe I can do this again.
Did you do anything different like that made your experience better and make you go, okay, actually, I'm glad that I prepped, or I'm glad that I went through with this?
Yes, I got a therapist. I was
Good.
more I was more open with my coach. I worked on my relationship with God, and I actually got out of a certain relationship that I was in that wasn't so great for myself. I'm honestly grateful for the experience that I had, but yeah, your environment definitely matters.
Oh, absolutely. So much. Sometimes we like to believe that, oh, what other people say, it doesn't matter, doesn't affect me. But when there's people you really love or care about, or whom you exist with and live life with or pursue things with, like what their thoughts, their opinions, their beliefs about you do have an impact, just like what we say about others matters. Like we should speak life into people. It's why the Bible tells us that our tongues can be very sharp, like because it's important to recognize that it can make an impact in a negative way or positive way. So the fact that you were in an environment that was not conducive to you being the athlete you wanted to be and having the experiences you wanted to be, it shows, of course, your resilience in coming out of that. But the the challenge being that you were in it at one point and it was limiting your experience.
Yes, 110%. Yeah, your
So
environment is important.
when you changed that, like what did you notice first when you finally said, okay, I'm done? Like what was the first thing you noticed started to change?
The way I perceived things, the way that I like I said, how much time do we have?
I know
We
it.
could dive deep in this.
Dude,
My
please.
my my awareness, what was actually going on inside my head, the stories I was telling myself, the thoughts I was having. Are these my thoughts? Are these someone else's thoughts? Are these someone else's opinions? Are these mine? Is this what I believe? That all, yeah, if you're not even aware of what's going on inside your head, again, that can be a slippery slope into a dark place. And a lot of the time people are projecting their insecurities and their doubts and their fears, and if you're not aware of that, that can take a huge toll on your mental health, because you can start to believe other people's projections, fears, insecurities, and that may not even be your own, thought process. So really getting out of that environment, going to therapy, being open with my family and friends, and has really helped. Yeah, 110%.
It's so important. I'm really glad that you pursued that for yourself, and what you're sharing is inspiring to others. I know many women who've been in similar environments, including myself, and um it's weird when you get out of it at first. Yeah, you're kind of in this, at least for me, I was in this battle of like, wait, that's not a me belief. Like that's not a me thought about myself or a me thought about the world. That's like a them thing.
Yep.
And then starting to face that and like come back to myself and come back to what I know to be real and true. It started to feel freeing, and it's sometimes you don't even realize it until someone asks you something. Like some lady asked me at the gym about, I don't remember, something about my body image, and like the way I answered her, I was like, wow, I realized that was different when I was with this narcissist, but like now it's better. So sometimes that growth is slow, that change is slow, and getting help, support, being surrounded by people who really know you,
Mhm.
and having a relationship with God who created you. I mean, it really is the most healing thing.
Yeah, God again, looking back, hindsight is always 2020 and God has really pulled through.
Yeah. So you made your pro debut. It was obviously very successful. What was your feedback from Tahoe that you then took to Atlanta?
Tahoe was I needed to be a little bit tighter in my midsection, which we knew that's
Hmm,
something I struggle with is my midsection and also just overall growth and size, the
really?
density of the muscle. Mhm.
Okay. And then Atlanta, what was your feedback?
Density.
Really?
Overall
Same.
density. Yes.
They were
Yes.
consistent.
Yes. And we actually had a third show lined up. I think it was August, in September. We were supposed to do one in September and we pulled out because it was the same feedback and
Mm,
obviously I'm not going to grow that quick
right.
in prep. So, yeah, we pulled out and yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You did so well. You placed well, and objectively, I could say like, wow, that was a really great season, especially for a pro debut, and then to your next pro show, and then you came out of it. So when you came out of it, was your immediate thought like, okay, we're gonna grow. I'm really motivated. I want to make it, or were you immediately like, I don't know what's next?
50-50. Actually, I'd like to say 60-40.
Which
I
way, by the way? 60-40, which way?
it's 60. I was like, let's keep going. I want to keep going. I'm gonna compete again in 2026. And but I also had that in the back of my mind. I'm not sure if I want to keep doing this. The whole goal was to just do my pro debut and these 2 to 3 shows that I had planned. So I wasn't quite sure. And I after my second show, I had a call with my coach and we came up with a game plan and sometimes those plans don't fall through. Things yeah, yes, I had another major life change happen and I really needed to just pull back and slow down. And I really do think that was just God coming into my life and saying, hold on, you need to take care of other things in your life. And so I really am just learning to listen to that,
Hmm,
his voice, and yeah, trust in that.
wow. I'm thinking about that time for you post show when you're like in that 60-40 zone of like to keep going or not keep going. And your initial intention was to stop after you had your first pro season. Do you think it would have been different if you didn't place so high? Like, do you think you'd be as much of contemplation mode?
That's a great question. May maybe, maybe I'm not sure. Maybe not. I'm not sure. I just feel like my prep was so much more enjoyable. Like the way I was learning more things about myself and I think everyone knows when you're in prep, you get into that state, like that flow state where everything just happens and works out. And if you're working on yourself inside internally just as much as you are on the external, things are a lot more enjoyable. If you're just doing it for the external, you're not going to have a good time. And so, going back to your question, I think because I had such an enjoyable time and I learned so much about myself, I'd do it again, even if I didn't place well, you know?
Sure. Yeah. That's what I was wondering because like, sometimes a lot of for me, I know as an amateur before I retired and stopped pursuing the pro card, I was like, if I get my pro card, I'm just going to compete as a pro right away and then I'm going to retire. And I think about that and I'm like, the only reason that was probably true, this is for me, I'm not projecting, so this is for me. I think it was because I didn't expect, like, if I were to, there was no part of me in my mind that's like, I might qualify for the Olympia. It was just kind of like I would just do it to do it. That's why I asked that question because I was like, you're actually performing at a high level. And what I love though about what you said was, well, okay, either way, like achievements aside, what this lifestyle brings me and how I focus on other things mentally, spiritually, emotionally is what's making this journey so great. And I think that makes it easier to either stay or walk away, whatever your decision is, because is an internal thing versus an identity thing. It's no longer this is what makes me me. So I'd like to know what your day to day looks like to keep you in that zone. Like are there certain practices you have or rituals, maybe things, habits that you think have really made a difference in shaping your mental and spiritual, or even emotional health?
Yeah. When I'm in prep or when I'm not in prep.
Anytime. I'd love to hear both if it's different though.
Um, okay, so when I'm in prep, it takes a lot of me to pull the trigger and make a decision because I'm kind of an extreme person. And when I make a decision, I am going all in. Like this is it. I'm doing it. So once I have that decision made, a switch is flipped, and there's no negotiating. I'm just, unless of course circumstances in my life come up and I can't, someone passes away. Well, I don't know. I can't speak on that because I've never been in that position. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with outside of prep, just lifestyle, I'm very structured. I think a lot of us are structured who like bodybuilding. So without it, I know the type of person I become. I don't like taking care of myself and my physical fitness and my mentality as well. I need to make sure that everything is on point. And if it's not, I know the type of person I'm going to turn into. And I don't like that version of myself.
Interesting. That's fascinating because I was under the impression that this lifestyle really was more like it came more naturally to you, but it sounds like it's actually like a day in and day out choice and commitment you're having to make.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. These are such great questions I don't really think about often. And yeah, I kind of just go with it, but at the same time, I do have to really ask myself, is this what I want in the moment? And if it is, I'm gonna switch that flip and it's all in.
Wow. Yeah, because I notice like you're very focused, even knowing you're in this state of like what's next, you're still very focused. You share your fitness, you share your nutrition, you're still living that lifestyle. So it sounds like you love it for the sake of who it allows you to be.
Exact exactly. Yes. And I want, yes.
You're
You're
like,
in my
wait a minute.
mind right now. Yes, exactly. I do like the healthier lifestyle of eating whole foods, taking care of my body and forming systems so I can carry that into my older adult life because I see a lot of the elderly population and they're not very aware of physical fitness and proper nutrition and things like that and how it ties in. And I think our generation, if we start now and we promote and we influence other people in our generation, we can help carry that into later on in life. I don't want people dying young just because they couldn't control their nutrition or their physical fitness. So that's what I'm trying to share now, is it's so important to make sure you keep your nutrition in check. Yes, you can have some yummy foods. You don't have to always track your macros and things like that. But if you are picking healthier options and being physically active, you're already halfway there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it really, once you establish like your habits of caring about nutrition, caring about your physical body, and whether that's the gym or it's a bike ride, it doesn't matter. But just having that routine, you start to notice a shift in like your natural tendencies. Like if you have tracked macros for ages, your natural tendency is going to look for protein, carbs, fats, and some of your micronutrients. That's just going to come easily. If you followed a meal plan for so long, the same thing can be true. You're going to start looking for things that really align with like, well, this is a protein and it becomes your norm. So to be able to encourage and inspire others to see that that's actually really important, it doesn't have to be extreme, is great. And it sounds kind of like it's a maybe like a passion of yours, but you're a dental hygienist. So is there a transition happening there too? Or are you just find like you want to inspire people through what you share?
I know. I'm a jack of all trades. Like
That's right.
I I absolutely love the dental world. It's so fun. It's
Wow.
again something I never thought I would do. And I'm telling you, everything just has fallen into place. And
Hmm.
really quick on this, how I got into hygiene in the
Yes,
dental
I want
world
to hear.
was yeah, I tore my ACL, so I was going through all of that. And my last tear, my surgeon said I have to give it up because I'm going to be bone on bone. I'll have a knee replacement by the age of 30. And I was like, I want, all I know is soccer. I want to go play at a university. I want to be a professional. And I remember my dad, I think I was like the next week after having that that conversation with my surgeon, my dad was like, "You're not going out until you figure out what you want to do with your life."
You're not going out, like not going out of the house. Like
Yes, exactly. You're not gonna be with your friends. Like I was 17. I just tore my ACL for like the 7,000th time. Like, what do you mean I have to figure out what I want to do? And so I remember a week later I was at that following week I was at a dental appointment and I absolutely loved my dental hygienist. I thought she was so cool and she was so bubbly and she loved her job and I asked her what she did and she told me what she did and so she's like, "Do you want to come shadow me?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so I shadowed her and then I just stuck with it. And I love the dental world. I love hygiene. The mind, the mouth body connection. The mouth is the portal to the body. So what is going on inside your mouth plays a huge role in your health. So I absolutely love the health and science aspect of hygiene. So yeah, I love my job. I do, but I also have my passion, which is physical fitness, health. I love that. So I think everything ties together.
you know what? That's one, I love that story. I love hearing how you got into it. I think that's amazing. Like, not only was your dad super cool to be, figure it out, girl. This is it. You're like, I'm 7. He's out. But then the fact that like you had a dentist appointment the next week and it just happened to lead you down that path. And
Mhm.
then, of course, the connection to the physical body. So that's something actually we never really get to talk about on this podcast because it's not often I get, a dental professional. So,
Yeah.
share with us some of the things that you think go and maybe not considered or undervalued when it comes to dental hygiene.
Such a great question. And like I said, I can go down a rabbit hole with this. And hygiene, you can tell so much by a patient's overall health and what is going on inside their mouth.
Wow.
You can tell about systemic diseases. You can tell about anxiety. You can tell if someone's going through a depressed phase. You can tell if they're not having proper nutrition because of the amount of saliva or the type of saliva in their mouth. It can, yeah, it's very interesting how you
Wait,
could
fill me in
tell.
on the mental health side because that really, sorry to interrupt you. I just like, I don't want to skim over that. Like, I'd like to hear what, if you could expand on that.
Yeah, so okay, so I'm just going to tell you when I'm inside someone's mouth, I'm looking inside, you're looking for certain things, you notice certain things. So there are things such as wear facets. So that is a sign of clenching and grinding, and clenching and grinding. If you're grinding in your sleep or you're clenching throughout the day, you can be very stressed. You can tell, oh, this person's going through a lot of stress or has been very stressed. Or if their teeth are flat across, you can tell they're clenching and grinding. So you can tell they're a very tense person. Um, I know a lot of us like to bite inside our cheeks and things like that. You can tell someone's a very anxious person. You can tell a lot about a person just by looking inside their mouth.
Before a date, you're like, why don't you come in my chair really quickly? Just figure something out.
Yes. Yes. Or if they're not taking care of their hygiene, you can tell what they're going through. You can get a sense of what they're going through in their life, if they're not brushing their teeth, if they're not taking care of their mouth. Your mouth is one of the main things or one of the first things that takes a hit when your mental health goes down. And I can speak for myself going through hard things. Like, I don't want to get up and take care of myself. I don't want to brush my teeth, and when your mental health is down, small things like that take a hit. So when I have a patient in my chair and I see that, that's a time when I can like just back up and talk to the patient. So we're not only hygienists, we're actually therapists,
For real.
online therapists. No.
Yeah. No, honestly, like well, it's very necessary. Like I have some patients, as a therapist, I have some patients who they'll tell me one of their goals is to improve their hygiene.
Mhm.
And because they see exactly what you're describing here, there's a lack. And I think um you're spot on too. Like, why bother flossing when
Mhm.
I don't feel like even getting up out of bed? It's like there is a disconnect there. Now, as far as other health challenges, the thing that I'm very aware of and have been made aware of is heart concerns. But I'd love to hear more of like what are some of the motivating factors that you share with people to take better care of their health, their dental health, that is, to support their overall body.
Yeah, the mouth and heart are very connected. The mouth is connected to your whole body. And so that same that same bacteria that's inside your mouth is going throughout your whole body. It's in your bloodstream. If you're not taking care of your oral health, if you haven't been to the dentist in years, the plaque and the bacteria that's inside your mouth is inside your bloodstream. That is huge. It's huge. Even with diabetic patients, it's very, very big. So it's important that we me as a hygienist, I have to educate my patients on the mouth, heart body connection.
Well, I could
Yeah.
see too that there could be just a lack of education in general, especially if
Yeah.
certain populations might come in and they may never have even, and when I say certain populations, I just mean anybody. It could be young, old, otherwise, but they may have never been exposed or had access to care before. So I imagine you're probably meeting some people in really vulnerable positions too, where you're like, no one's ever taught them how to even brush their teeth properly.
Or even floss. Yeah, I've
Right.
had,
With lots.
yes, yeah, I've had so many patients who don't know how to brush properly or floss properly, and that's our job, my job, to educate the patients on that. Even when you go into the dental, even when you're in the dental chair and they take your blood pressure, I get a lot of patients, oh, you're taking my blood pressure. Yes, I'm taking your blood pressure. It's very important. A lot of my coworkers, many of my coworkers have caught um, early early signs of heart conditions, and yeah, have prevented very scary things from happening. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think if I can't recall if my blood pressure's been taken at the dentist.
Very important.
Yeah, I cannot recall if that's ever been done. Next time I go, I'll have to see if they do that. Um, a lot of people don't like the dentist. Obviously, you know this.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
I found out the hard way.
yeah. So you work at a job where not only are you probably having to motivate people, but also they're not necessarily excited to be there. So you're meeting them in a place of maybe fear or concern or challenges, but it must be very fulfilling when you have a repeat patient come back and they've obviously improved or they've taken to heart what you've shared.
Oh my gosh. Nothing feels more satisfying than seeing the progress of a patient. Yeah, I do love my job.
That's
I
awesome.
do.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell.
So fun. Yes.
Do you do any pediatric dental work?
We're not a pediatric office, but yeah, we do take kids. Yes. And I love it. It's so fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been and I don't know, internet's a wild place, but like I've heard about like jaw development being affected by like what foods children will eat or how they breathe. Um do you see that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So there are specific devices. So if you have if you have kids and you notice that they're mouth breathing or they're teething, things like that, it's very important to become aware first, but always bring your child into a dental office as soon as they're getting their teeth. Even you can bring them
Really?
younger just to expose, but there are certain devices that help with the jaw development. So we'll have an assessment that we do, the dentist will do as well. And if we think it's appropriate, we will definitely recommend the certain devices of the jaw development. But that's another thing you can tell a lot about a person is by their facial structure. So if their mandible is protruded or things like that, you can tell if they were a mouth breather growing up, or if they, what's another one? Not only with kids, but if they're in adults, if they're snoring, if they have sleep apnea, that's very important as well to become aware of and know that you need to fix that. Breathing through your mouth is not good. Sleep apnea is not good. So you have to make sure you take care of that. And as I'm having a full circle moment again, it is very important to get this information out because a lot of people are unaware of the risks of this.
And think of how many male bodybuilders are on CPAP machines.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm sure female too, but like truly that like I imagine weight plays a role in that stress, like you said, and in bodybuilding too. Like a lot of times, keeping your jaw from clenching during a lift is very challenging Do you find that you pay attention, like, do you get hyper aware of like your own mouth when you're doing things?
Yeah, I do. When I am hip thrusting, I notice like if I go hard on hip thrust, like sometimes my jaw will hurt the next day because I'm like, pushing my jaw out to get the weight up. And I have to be more aware of that, because you can expand and you can also tie it, you can enlarge those muscles too if you're clenching and grinding. If you're clenching and grinding, it can shape the way your jaw forms. Also, a lot what I've been learning as well is small things such as dental fillings and things like that. If you have an uneven dental filling and you're chewing and clenching and grinding, it can throw off the anatomy of your face and things like that. So another rabbit hole I can go down.
Yeah. Well, it's great encouragement too, because I love talking about other things for health and in general on this podcast. But like I said, it's not always an opportunity to do so. And clearly you're very passionate and you've gotten a lot of great insight. And I'm sorry if my internet's unstable. I just got that notice. So if you couldn't hear me, I apologize. But I just think it's great that you have such a passion and you could share that here because it is important. Now, as far as working a full-time job and balancing competing schedules, has that ever and prepping, has that ever been challenging for you?
Uh, no, no, but I'm very thankful. No, I'm very thankful for my office and my coworkers. Everyone supports me and they love it. And I actually work at a dental office that encourages not only your oral health, but your overall health because we all know that it's connected. So yeah, and my schedule is so flexible and yeah, if I didn't have this job, I had maybe a different job. I don't know. I think it would be a different story, but my job is so chill. My schedule is very
Oh,
relaxed. Yeah.
that's so good. Yeah, because sometimes that can be stressful otherwise. So I'm glad to hear that. And another thing that I was kind of hoping you'd share with us is outside of bodybuilding and work, how have you found your personal development to be influenced by those areas? So, but not who's Naomi in bodybuilding and who's Naomi at work, but how has bodybuilding and work actually influenced who you are outside of those realms?
Like I said, every time that I do a bodybuilding prep, I learn more and more about myself. But at the end of the day, I believe that we're all here for a specific reason. And I just get the pleasure of being able to live this lifestyle and promote the lifestyle, whether I am in bodybuilding or not in bodybuilding. And so discovering myself and what I want to share and promote and just embody, I am in that discovery phase. So I definitely am learning about that. Yeah, I could go down a rabbit hole with this. I love your questions. I wish we
Ah,
had.
girl, you're welcome to expand on that if you have something that's coming to mind for you.
I just think that we're all here for a specific reason. And bodybuilding has taught me so much. And being a hygienist has taught me so much. And how can I be a better person with or without this? And if I can influence or help one person, it brings so much more fulfillment. I'm in a phase in my life where I'm learning about purpose and what what is my purpose. I don't know what my purpose is. I think a lot of us feel that way, and if I can inspire and help people, then I'm going to do that. But first I need to embody it. I need to be that. And that's what brings me so much more fulfillment. So without bodybuilding, I'm still going to try to be the best that I can be and help people around me. But with bodybuilding, I've learned so much more about myself and about others. So I think it all ties in. Yeah, to just help the collective.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, from a spiritual lens too, we're called to love God and love others. And that can look very different for everybody. And we each have maybe different spiritual gifts or abilities, callings that God has given us that I think formulate or influence that purpose over time.
Yeah, I love this. Yes,
So
I love this. Oh my gosh, this is where we're getting juicy.
I know. I'm like, so tell me about your spiritual gift.
I I love this. Um, wait, I want to hear yours. Or
Okay. Well, I did this like women's Bible study group, and I think one of the main spiritual, there were two that really came to mind, but one of the main one was compassion. I think I have a high, like I think I was gifted with a lot of compassion for other people, and then also curiosity. And I've seen that play out in my life from obviously podcasting to my business and to being a therapist as well. But I think one of my greater spiritual gifts that I was given was compassion. I would like some people might say, oh, it's for me, it's organization, it's systemizing it. And while those are maybe strengths, I wouldn't say that's like the gifts that I'm using. So yeah, what about you?
yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. I was actually having a conversation with someone about this the other day, and
Really?
yes, yes, because I still am like I've always like I said I've always been a believer, but um learning more and more about God and the Bible and things like that and what comes with it is really exciting. And I we were talking about the spiritual gifts, and one of them I was thinking, or I truly think that we all have spiritual gifts, right?
Mhm.
Um, but me, I love to tap into discernment for sure. I That's something that I've learned over the last few years, being able to judge well and discern, like, is this God? Is this not God? Is this from God? Is this not from God? And discernment has been one of the best spiritual gifts. I don't always feel like I get it 110%, but the more I lean into the word, the more I feel like I have almost like this superpower. Like, it's so
Oh yeah,
cool. So
that's
cool.
amazing. Oh, discernment is such a great one. I think actually like women especially are tasked with that or gifted with that in order to be the Ezer Kenegdo, right? Like the helpmate, the helper, which, people might hear that and think, oh, helping only the men. No, like everybody, like women get to help and be this like um this support and this booster. And it is really amazing when you see people really tap into their gifts or really reflect the fruits of the spirit. It's like it becomes undeniable, right? You want to be able to demonstrate your relationship with God through the way that you interact, where you don't have to say, I am uh I am someone who goes to church, I'm someone who's instead it's like it kind of speaks for yourself. And clearly you're exercising your power of discernment and you have for many years and it hasn't steered you wrong. So it's a really beautiful gift to have that and a very helpful one too.
Yeah, definitely. Listening to that, being able to just take some quiet time and listen, really listen
Mhm.
to that.
Yeah, and I think being open to hearing it because sometimes it's just not what we want or expect to hear.
Exactly. Oh, I got the chills. Yes. Yes, because I wanted to tie this in. I
Yeah.
wanted to share this. I haven't shared this with many people, but coming out of my pro shows from the Atlanta Pro and telling you that I really wanted to go forward and continue to compete and things like that. And then also having like, wait, you know, this was the only goal, things like that. You have to use discernment, and even though we want something, it may not be what God wants us to have, and He will show you. And I'm not necessarily saying that this was because of God and things like that, but I did face, my family and I faced a hard situation after my prep. My mom actually had a stroke, and um, yeah, it made me and my whole family like stop and pause and realize like, whoa, like we got to slow down and just remember what's really important to us. And so even though I may want something really really bad, and I want this and I want that and I want to do that, sometimes life happens and God's going to show you what's important and what's not. And it's very important to discern and listen and hear and obey. Yeah,
Mm.
obey. So, yeah.
That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part right there.
Mhm.
Well, especially with going back to what you said early on, like soccer being a comfort for you, a place where you could take out your emotions, your experiences. Is bodybuilding doing that for you too?
Oh yeah, 110%. I think it's my creative, not only mine, but hundreds of thousands of millions of people's creative way of getting, just being creative. I feel so creative when I am in the gym, when I'm in that flow state. That is my outlet. Whether I'm happy, whether I'm sad, whether I'm going through a depressed state, like the gym has always been there, just like God.
Uh,
He's the same as yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So is the gym,
Except God doesn't have an out of order sign on it when you really need him, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I swear there's sometimes I go to the gym and I'm like, is this just on here because y'all don't want to mess with it, or is it really out of order? Oh, but you're right. And I could not agree more. And I think the gym has a really great way of making you connect to the present moment, similar to stepping on stage. Like whether it's a speaking engagement or bodybuilding or whatever, like I never feel more present than when I'm on stage. And similar, like going to the gym, sometimes, you can be all up in your head about all this stuff. Then you go to the gym and you do one rep. And that first rep, you realize all I did was count to one. You do two, and all I did was count two. You're not always in your head at that point. It gives you something to put that energy into. And that's helped sometimes. Some days my mind, other days it helps me process things. And as a therapist, I'm not like gym is therapy, but I definitely think gym is a form of therapy, right? Like it's a great outlet. And maybe for someone else that could be like um boxing, biking, it could be a different sport, but or a different passion altogether.
Yeah. Yes, it's very important for us.
I want to know how your mom's doing.
Thank you. Thank you. She's doing so much better, thankfully. Yes, that it was very scary. I definitely had to take a step back and become silent off of my socials. And yeah, I wanted to share with everyone, but I wasn't sure if I should. And I was also very concerned with my mom. So there was just a lot going on. She's doing so much better. She actually started driving last month. And my,
Wow.
yes, my mom is a warrior. Like the more and more I age and grow older with my parents, the more and more I see like I'm exactly like them. Like, I'm like them. And my mom is a fighter. Like she
Mm.
was determined and still is, like seeing her do her exercises every day or calling her. And yeah, she's doing amazing. Thankfully, it just affected her left arm and a little bit of her walking and a little bit of her speech in the beginning. But that woman, yeah, there's no telling her no. She's on a mission.
That's really amazing. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have an older sister. Yeah, she's 32. Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
my sister and I are 2 years apart as well. It's the best. Like, she's my best friend.
Are you the younger or the older?
Younger.
Me too.
Things. We know what's up.
Yes. Yeah. Are you the more rambunctious one or is she?
Yeah, I would say I am. But yeah, she's a lot more, she's like more stoic, she's still very emotional, like in tune and like exciting, and she'll go after things, but like she's more like even, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
having an older sister is cool because it's like, at least for me, I feel like there's a part of me that never has to grow up. That might sound so immature, but my sister is like this beacon of hope and light and insight and wisdom for me, and I really admire her a lot.
Wow. I love that. I love that because that's exactly how I feel about my older sister.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly about her.
your mom has a lot to live for, so it sounds like she wants to inspire you guys in her process of recovery too.
Yes, yeah, she does. Yes. I'm very proud of her and she told me real quick, she told me one evening, she was like, "I'm ready if the Lord wants me, like I'm ready." And I'm like, "Woman, I had to have a pep talk with her. I'm like, "You are a 68-year-old woman. You're acting like you're 90. I need you to put more pep in your step. No more poor me. Like, let's go." And after that pep talk,
You put the sunglasses on when she thought she saw the light. You're like, you don't know what you're looking at. You got a
yeah,
lot more.
yeah, yes. And I think that's so important. All of us go through certain phases in our lives and to have each other to lean on. She's been carrying me my whole life, and this time in her, I think it's my turn to be like, no, let's go. You know?
So much. Absolutely. Yeah, to be inspired by your parents, and to have that, there's moments where you go, wow, I really am just like them. And sometimes those moments are like funny and scary. And other times they're they're actually very nice. And you're like, oh, this is good. Um, Side note, it kind of reminds me, I think it's like the progressive commercials, right? Where they're like, we can't stop you from becoming like your parents. And they're like, calling out the coffee order and stuff. I'm like, oh my God. There's some things I do, and my mom passed away a few years ago, but there's some things that I do that I'm like, oh, that was my mom. But when you're little, you like, I don't want to be like this, I don't want to be like that. And then as you get older, you develop, I think, a lot more respect and appreciation for who they are. And you're like, you know, I think it'd be really great. Like, it'd be really great to be just like my mom and dad.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So your mom's lucky to have you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very grateful and lucky and blessed to have my mom, my dad, and my sister.
So good. So I'd love to hear your best advice now. You've obviously shared such great insights, but what's your best advice for someone who has never competed before but wants to, as well as your best advice for someone who's on their road to pro?
Hello. Someone who's never competed but wants to. I had a conversation with one of my girlfriends about this. Okay. Um, do your research on coaches. Make sure you tell everyone in your family and your friends and in your close circle that this, what you're about to go through, is for you and your goals, and who the versions of who you become may not be what is expected, but it's all about the growth and the journey. And life is not always going to be like this. Life's not always going to be prep, 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 prep. So make sure to warn or just give a heads up to everyone that you're not always going to be like this. And then your second question was that someone on the road to pro. Ooh, Hmm. Have fun with it and learn more about yourself. Make it a goal to learn more about yourself and not be so focused on the the outcome goal of wanting to become a pro. Learn more about yourself and in the journey, yeah, of who you're becoming. And
That's huge.
be proud of yourself that you're even doing the damn thing because it's so difficult to do what we do.
I love that. That's great advice. And again, it just ties into a lot of what you've shared. So I want people to be able to connect with you, to follow you, to see, where your journey takes you. So how can they do that?
Yes, my Instagram handle is Naomi Jordan. Two I's at the end, so Naomii, and then Jordan, Jordann.
Awesome. And we'll put that in the show notes page. So you guys, that's always on celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right away, it'll be at the top of that page. If you're listening in the future, just scroll down to the category section, which is alphabetized. Not only will you see how you can connect with us, but you're also going to see a full episode summary, bulleted list of the topics we covered, as well as episode timestamps. So you can go back and listen to your favorite parts, share them with your friends, your family, your teammates, let them know what resonated with you. And of course, please tag us as you listen or reach out via message and share your thoughts, your takeaways. It's always really wonderful to hear. And I want to encourage you guys. I don't always say this at the end of episodes, but I recently maybe did like a couple months ago, and now I'm getting like all these great guest requests. So if y'all have people you want to hear on or certain topics you want me to talk about on the show, please send them my way. I would love to bring those athletes on and those topics to light as well. So thank you all for listening. And Naomi, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a joy. It was such a pleasure. Girl, let's text, let's call each other.
That was so amazing. Like it was such a great episode. And stay on the line with me. I'll give you our next steps. And then to everybody listening, I hope y'all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, or wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.